where we have Breath of the Wild, it's an open world game in Hyrule. So to take it away from that doesn't even make sense because that's where the game sets its place from. It's in Hyrule. It's an open world place of Hyrule. Now now again, if it was a completely different Zelda game, it would make sense to go elsewhere. But like, I don't understand like the whole trying to change it's enough in the game to make it a sequel. I don't think the setting needs to change.
That's what I said.
Literally.
Yo, another episode on this podcast. And honestly, everybody go ahead and say what's up.
What's up? Happy Mother's Day to those beautiful mothers.
Absolutely. Everybody enjoy their Mother's Day today. I'm pretty sure there's so much excitement out there for that. And then also there's so much excitement for, Tears of Kingdom coming out this week. I feel as though let's hurry up and talk about this because I guarantee the world is actually exploding right now for this game.
I was doing great, actually.
So who wants to go first?
Graphically, it's the same shit, but the mechanics and everything, like I love the building mechanic. I like that you can make different things and stick things together and mend your weapons and stuff like that. Like that's dope. And I like that, like, for some reason, his hair flows way better in this one.
Is it?
It's weird. Like, the physics is crazy in this one for some reason. And then I don't like that they kind of like copy and paste the dungeon, the shrine shit. It's basically the same shrines, just pasted instead of those weird skeleton thing. They're like statue people or whatever. That's the same. Hyrule does look different and the same at the same time, if that makes any sense. And the Sky World is a lot bigger than I thought it was. I was like struggling trying to get off the thing. And I'm right now I'm down in Hyrule and I'm trying to find a way back up. But I do like that the tower things where you kind of scope out the map and unlock the rest of the map. I like how it shoots you up and then you're like floating there and stuff like that. That's dope. For me overall, like, I don't know why they had to raise the price, but it's
$70.
Yeah, I don't know why they had to raise the price, but it's good. It does meet up to it being a sequel. It does feel like a sequel. Like it's good.
Nice, Aaron. I know.
Cool.
What about you?
All right. So I'm glad Danny likes it. Me, I like it too. I'm not gonna say it's a bad game. It's not a bad game. Not saying that, but I don't know what warrant the $10 price increase.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm trying to figure that out too. Because graphically, it looks a smidge better than Breath of the Wild.
For some reason,
like it's like a smidge better, just a smidge better.
But it definitely looks crazy on the OLED. I'd like to mention that. Like it looks very crisp on the OLED. It looks really good.
Even if you attach it to a dock, right?
Switch, no, it looks different on the dock. The OLED screen is very different from putting it on the TV.
Yeah. Okay. I never played on OLED, so I don't know about that.
No, it looks really good.
Graphically, it's slightly improved, no doubt. Hyrule, to me, at least on the ground, is copy and pasted. It really is. I don't see anything really different besides a couple of caves here and there. I do like the underground. The underground's pretty cool and all that stuff, but like seems kind of like underdeveloped. If you know what I mean by that, it just seems underdeveloped. If you're underground, that part. Yeah. The sky part is the best part of the game by far. The best new addition. I will give them credit on that completely. The sky part is the best part. I will not lie. Just being in the sky is awesome. The way that they have you solve puzzles up there in the sky as well is awesome. Your new like little runes, I guess they're called the runes, like the little mechanical arm thing that help you move stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool and all that stuff. I don't think the building works as well as it should work sometimes. It's a little wonky sometimes, at least with me. Maybe I'm an idiot, but at least with me, it's a little wonky sometimes. But I like the ascend ability as well. That's pretty cool. The ascend ability is pretty cool. You're going through rocks and everything, ascending up. That's pretty cool. The shrines are, just like Danny said, that copy and paste. The puzzles in them are different enough, but if you're doing a starting area, it's pretty much a shot for shot, almost a shot for shot remake of the original Breath of the Wild. Like the three shrines, show you how to play, all that other stuff, get your rooms. But like I'm just trying to just kind of copy and paste the different puzzles, obviously. The dungeons that the developers said we had and all that stuff.
I haven't seen any dungeons yet.
I've been the one. It is not a dungeon. It's literally pretty much a divine beast, but just like in more of a dungeon form. You know what I mean? It's
okay.
They aren't going to have you. They aren't going to have you with saying, "Oh my God, this is better than Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, Wind Waker." No, they're not going to have you do that. The bosses are so far pretty average bosses. Definitely not no Star-Lord from Twilight Princess. So we don't have dungeons per se, but I say this is a step in the right direction. Honestly, if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, you probably aren't gonna like this. So I'll probably stay clear of this if you didn't like Breath of the Wild. For me, the little one outlier score that everybody on the internet's going crazy over, like the 6 out of 10. Oh my God, what the fuck was he thinking? That guy, that score. I mean, maybe it's not exactly 6 out of 10. I'll say 7 out of 10. To me, and people might hate me, it still feels like just a really big, fat ass expansion. To me.
Oh,
that's me.
Back to the
expansion. I'm sorry.
DLC.
I think Hyrule looks. I don't think it's copy and paste like exactly, because when you first come down and you're talking to, what's her name, Pura, whatever her name, Pura. Yeah, like walking up to the castle. It looks different until you get into the castle, and then that's when it looks copy and paste. But like just outside the castles, everything's in ruins and stuff like that. Like that brings different aesthetic to the game.
I do like the extra settlements that they got. Like the Sheikah settlement that's in front of the castle. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I guess I was expecting more of like how Majora's Mask, they may say it looked the same as Ocarina of Time, but it really isn't the same at all. Like different overworld terminal looks nothing like Hyrule. There's the Whitehead Mountains and all that stuff. Like Majora's Mask feels like its own contained world compared to Hyrule.
Yeah, so you wanted like a whole different area or something. But you got to remember, it's Hyrule. It's still Hyrule, and it's a literal direct sequel to where we left off on the last one.
I'm trying to give them that grace.
Right.
Like,
so I think you should like leave it. Yeah,
let them off.
Yeah, just let them like let it settle in for a little bit. Keep playing the game, and then you'd be like, okay, some things are different. Some things make sense.
We'll see.
But
so far, what Mira was saying, like had it been Xbox, we would have whipped them a new asshole. I think I'm just saying, man. So far, a 7 out of 10 for me.
You gotta remember, we're so used to what Nintendo brings to the table that this makes sense. What they gave us, what I've played, it makes sense. It does feel like Breath of the Wild, but at the same time, it feels different.
It feels more, refresh. Yeah, I would like.
I guess.
Is it? So you see like a much of an improvement from the first one to this?
That's a good question.
Graphically, not an improvement. The graphical standpoint, it's like almost like hand in hand. It's almost the same. It might be a little bit more crisp around the edges. That's due to them utilizing it strictly for, like, it's not ported over from an old system. It's strictly for the Switch. So that looks a little bit better. But as far as like the areas and stuff, like they did change a lot for me to change my mind and say it's not DLC.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. For me personally, I don't know about the audience or what you guys think, but for me personally, it does feel like a sequel to the game.
Okay. I'm not saying it don't feel like a sequel. I just that $7 price point. I don't know
why they did that either, because a lot of the other newer games they have out still $60, but whatever.
Of course, because they know they can get away with it.
And they did, because they took my money.
And now it's time for the main man on the show, Mir. What are your thoughts?
Why do I got to be the main?
Because you're the more you get more in depth. You're like the more intricate one.
I'll set the floor, man. I'll set the floor.
I'm gonna attack Aaron in a second.
Oh, what?
I seen that coming. I seen that coming.
Nah, Danny, everything Danny said was 100% accurate. So mind you, like I didn't finish Breath of the Wild. I think I was like maybe 20 to 25 hours in, and I know that's not shit because of how big that game is.
Yeah, it took me.
But like,
a while.
I was a huge fan of Breath of the Wild, but then I just dropped it. Never went back to it. So like going into Tears of the Kingdom, it's like a lot of things are fresh, which are original to you guys because you guys played it all and shit.
Mhm.
But like a lot of shit is like I had to remember like in one of the beginning shrines you have to go to, it's like a winterized area, and he can't go over there because he doesn't have clothing for it,
Right.
And eyes and shit. But I had to remember like, oh, this shit was in Breath of the Wild, so like. I remember you have to strategize. Like, you have to wear warm clothing. You have to create a torch. Like,
Yeah, you
so
have
it's
to.
just those little things. I think like when it comes to physics, bro, this game is fucking top tier. Like,
I think
and I
they,
think
I
the
think they did
physics have
really
gotten
good on the
even
physics.
better in this
Yeah,
game.
they did.
Yeah, they're definitely top tier.
Like the physics in this game is insane. Like, bro, there was times where like I was using the building mechanic and like I accidentally dropped like a piece of plank wood on my fucking head and I've lost 2 stars of health. In a lot of games that doesn't happen. You just move out. You just see the wood go through the ground.
Right.
So it's
he
like
literally slumps down and everything. He's like, oh.
yeah, and like the physics in this game are just A1. So my thing is like so far the story's great. The shrines are cool. Some of they can be confusing, but the main part to me is like the new. I don't know if all of the like I know the Ascend feature wasn't in Breath of the Wild.
No.
Yeah, nah, that's new.
Wasn't a rewind in there?
There was the rewind was a stop. And then
Yeah,
the grab was just like a magnetic thing that you could only grab metal things. But the hand, the hand allows you to grab everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Okay,
you can bend everything together.
So I think like that's the part that we're missing too. Like I know we keep talking about like it not more so Aaron, because Danny, you said it was a direct sequel. But like if you look at it from a perspective like that, the building mechanic alone creates so many different opportunity and potential things that you haven't discovered yet.
Agreed.
Whereas though the system in the very first game, you're only limited to everything. So like Aaron, how you guys were saying, like you can only grab metal in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
This game, you can literally grab anything. So you don't know what the adventure will hold because you have more accessibility to this new building system. So I think there, in that sense alone, this makes the game much worthy of a sequel. And then the whole sky area, bro, there's a whole another area of the map in the fucking sky.
It's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Like that alone is a war. Like talk about content and just discoveries. That alone warrants the sequel tag for this game. So I don't understand, like, what are we talking about when we say, like, it's not worth $70? It has an entire... Bro, it has an entire area above the main map of Hyrule that you get to explore.
All the time in games.
Not on this scale. Not on this scale,
Mirror,
bro.
you gotta remember too,
literally
like the sky world. You also have underground tunnels too that you can explore as well. So it's not.
I didn't even know that.
Like if you really explore the sky. There's like tunnels and stuff that you can break. Like you would mend like a stick in a rock or a sword in a rock, and then you can hit the certain boulders and it'll break it. When you break that, it gives you a pathway, and you get to go under there. You find different treasures and stuff. Like it's pretty dope the way they did the whole sky thing.
So but that's what I'm saying. So like even in that other feature, right? That feature where you get to attach rocks and certain things to the weapons. Was that in Breath of the Wild?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Nope.
So again, like these are points to where it's like it adds and changes to the gameplay. Enemies could be more interesting to fight nowadays.
Oh yeah,
you can add certain
better.
Attachments. I don't know about the bow situation in the first Breath of the Wild because again, I haven't played it since like 2018 but
it is
can
basically
you
basic.
attach
No,
like
you can't do
fire
anything.
and
No.
shit like that?
So-
I mean, they have fire arrows, but you can never attach like fire.
See, bro, that's what to even have this conversation about not saying it's a sequel is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is a whole system implemented in the game that changes.
Are we going to attack the performance, right? Because the performance is kind of
but
I haven't had
Aaron,
any performance issues.
Aaron, it it has been running like straight.
Aaron's like, come on, bro.
I had one dip in the beginning where you first learn how to make the little boat with the fan when you get to that point. And when you cross over that little river and you pick up, so I picked up the little whatever you call that thing, boat thing that was made. I picked it up to take it up the steps, and I was walking it with me, and the frame dipped to probably like 20, and then it instantly went back up to 30.
But let me ask you, did that ruin the experience of the game?
It did not. No,
takes you out of it.
Absolutely not.
No. Because it didn't ruin it for me because
small,
it was
thing,
such a quick thing. It just dipped and then went back up. But like that does not ruin the performance for me because it's Nintendo. Most of Nintendo's games run at 30. So for you to expect that this one's gonna run at 60. No, I knew the Switch was going to run only 30, especially how big that game is and how much power this little thing can handle. I don't think 60 with this. I agree. Don't charge 70 for it, but what's $10? That's how I see it.
What? You trading on me.
I'm not trading on you. I'm agreeing. No, listen, I'm agreeing on you. I'm agreeing with you that $70, like the extra 10 is like, why? Why the extra 10? Why couldn't they do 60? Because there is bigger games that still cost less than this on the Switch. So the fact that they had to bring it up just for this game, that one I'm confused about. But I was okay.
I think y'all losing.
No, I was okay. Again, Mir, but remember, this is where I'm split between you and Aaron. Like I'm okay. I was okay with the initial $10 because of what I see in the game. But I don't know why it was like extra $10. Why can't they just keep it 60? Like, why didn't it?
Can we talk about? I think you're not actually not doing anything new, and as far as Hyrule goes, you know, what I mean, you still,
bro. But you're arguing about like I see what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I think if you take a game like Batman Arkham Asylum and then Batman Arkham City, blueprint wise, from a gameplay mechanic, they're the same fucking game, but setting they're completely different.
Right.
That made sense because it was two different villains, right? Our Arkham Asylum was ran by the Joker. Mm. By the time you got to Arkham City, there were the whole Gotham, all the villains were a main part in that game.
Right.
Where we have Breath of the Wild, it's an open world game in Hyrule. So to take it away from that doesn't even make sense because that's where the game sets its place from. It's in Hyrule. It's an open world place of Hyrule. Now again, if it was a completely different Zelda game, it would make sense to go elsewhere. But like, I don't understand like the whole trying to change it's enough in the game to make it a sequel. I don't think the setting needs to change.
That's what I said.
Literally like even if Horizon, right? Like, yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West take place in different places, but they arguably look very identical because the game and the art style is just that's Horizon. So it's like, I'm not going to complain because, this area that I was in the first game doesn't look different. It's the same thing. It's just like trying to like imagine Spider-Man 2. I'm sure it's going to be the same fucking city as the first Spider-Man.
It's got to be New York. That's where he's at.
Like, what much more are they going to change? Like,
I mean,
it's New York.
I come from an era. I come from an era of gaming where sequels are actually a good deal different from the.
But that's a different era, though, bro. You're arguing Nintendo 64 GameCube,
like lower standard nowadays.
I'm just saying.
I agree with that.
Aaron,
it was easier to change those things back then. It doesn't make sense to do them now.
Like today. So if you see something that you see today, like a new TV, and then like 5 years later, you can still see the same damn TVs, the same shit that they did there. They might have just updated it through the time, but only slightly to show that it's different from the last one. That's what they did for Zelda. So just like I told you guys, I wanted to see didn't I tell you that I wanted to see different, I wanted to see tents, and I wanted to see little what do you call those, refugee places, whatever, that's what we got. We got little different towns. There's a different town in the middle of across from it's not a fully built town, but that's what I'm saying. I wasn't asking for a fully built town. I was asking for everything was destroyed. There's monsters everywhere. There's a story behind it.
It's post-apocalyptic. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they were able to build little post towns and stuff like that, or just building it, there's we're still working on this, or we're still that brought more story to the sequel. That shows how much time has passed from the last game.
I just felt like they rested on their laurels a bit too much with this one.
I mean, Breath of the Wild it was literally mostly all open with nothing in it. It was almost dead.
Exactly.
Yes, it was.
Did
that deserve all the 10s that it got? I don't think this game deserves all the 10s that it got.
Aaron, the fact that the first one was empty, this one definitely deserved the 10 because there's more animals flying around. There's more monsters everywhere. There's more little post-apocalyptic buildings being created now because they're trying to rebuild. You know, there's more. I feel like there's more story in here than it was in the first.
There's more destruction in the sky too. There's a lot of stuff that falls out of the sky.
Yeah, you get random shit falling from the sky. It's literally random rocks and stuff falling from the sky. And when it falls from the sky, you can jump on it, rewind it, and float back up for where it fell out of.
Okay. And then again, on the landscape of this game, that whole launching ability, bro, this game allowing you to be how high you are in the air and you being able to fully control Link's experience while traveling through the air like that without any frame rate dips just lets you know how great this game was made.
Bro,
I agree. Like that stuff is impressive and all that stuff, but I think the core gameplay is you're still not doing anything in Hyrule but collecting. You know what I mean?
But that's not true, though. They added a whole new system. So if you use those systems,
you're building stuff to collect stuff with. Okay,
but it's not about just building stuff. There's way that like you have the extend now, so there's easier ways for you to access certain areas. Right? Like we're talking about dungeons and creepy crawly areas and shit. Whereas though in Breath of the Wild you didn't have. But are those not gameplay changes? The those ability
places, to add it worth your while to explore though.
So if you're about to encounter a boss fight and you think to yourself, all right, well, let me strategize. Let me grab all the right equipment. Oh, I'm able to attach this to my weapon. This will benefit me in battle. How do those things not change the gameplay?
I mean, I'm not saying they don't change the gameplay, but in a meaningful way, no. Like they just
does because they are very useful and good mechanics. Like I don't understand. Like even if you get stuck, even if you get stuck in a part, bro, you can literally use the rewind button to backtrace your steps.
And the enemies mostly still fight the same. Come on,
they do. I mean, bro, that's every game, bro.
No, that's not every game.
Pretty much every fucking game, bro. Like
every Souls game has a boss. Souls games have bosses are like
all Souls games fight all Souls enemies. Especially like if we're going to argue skeletons in Souls game, right? They all attack the same.
Okay,
they all just recklessly. Bosses are different. You just said enemies though.
Enemies, bosses, it don't matter.
Nah, see, now you gotta pick one.
I literally there was a moment where one of those new creatures, the robot things, they picked a rock up because I knocked him out, stole his weapon, so he didn't have a weapon anymore. And then he picked up a rock from the ground and threw it at me, missed. And then I took the rewind thing on that rock and it went back and it hit him and it knocked him out.
That's pretty cool.
It's dope.
That is cool.
That's pretty cool.
I really like that. You know, in Breath of the Wild, you had to go out and try to find like strong weapons and stuff. You had to go find like, oh, maybe this hidden spot has like a number, like what is it, strength 15 or whatever, you know, attack or whatever. Now I don't have to go, like I can, but I don't have to go out looking for a specific weapon. I can just take like two different things and mend them together and get that power just where I'm standing. You know what I mean?
Is that not a gameplay change?
What y'all saying is true. I'm not saying it's not. It's not. I was expecting. I didn't care for Breath of the Wild. I didn't care for Breath of the Wild the first time going through. So this one I didn't particularly care about. You're literally your own enemy. You literally just told us, you was like, if you don't like Breath of the Wild, you're not going to like this game. So I think you having these preconceived notions with already disliking a lot of things from Breath of the Wild, carrying them into Tears of the Kingdom, it's just showing. I just don't like the direction they're going.
All right, real quick. All right, Dante, what do you have your thoughts on?
Oh yeah. From what I'm seeing, I'm looking at gameplay of it too. I am seeing like it has you are able to use like elemental tools as well, like during battles, like water. Like I'm seeing somebody fight like a mud shark that goes under the ground, and you can use like a water tool to fight them. Mm-hmm. So like during certain battles, do you have to use like certain tools, like elemental tools to, during the battles?
I haven't got that far, so I don't know just yet. I'm still fairly early.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in this game for sure.
Bro, I spent like almost 3 to 4 hours just trying to get off the top Skyland thing because I was too busy exploring everything.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, listen, you can argue that the prices are, not like the most, I guess, like the most happiest, I'm guessing, with a lot of fans out there. But, at the same time, it's like, look,
this is the generation.
It's the generation, man. It's just how it is.
Yeah,
but,
and I'm gonna just say this last thing, right? Like, $70 is not a crazy thing. Like, say what you want, but like, bro, all PS5, Xbox games.
I've personally been buying games for $70 for about like almost 3 years now.
Bro,
all is worth the price. I'm cool with it.
Listen, if Mario Kart 9 comes out, whenever that comes out, it's gonna be
$70.
Like, while we're talking about big success for games, I mean, like, what is your biggest, like, out of everybody on the podcast right now, like, what is your biggest gaming accomplishment? Like,
I'll go first.
Yeah,
you could go first.
I'm gonna keep it very short, simple. I'm not gonna lie, is when I beat Elden Ring. I'm not gonna lie. That game was hard as fuck, bro. That was like one of the very first Souls games I've ever took serious.
That's a good one.
That
though.
game,
bro.
And the crazy thing is like, bro, especially for like a lot of casuals and new players, a lot of people still never even beat that game.
Yeah,
I still haven't even started
like,
it.
Only hardcore Souls fans really beat Elden Ring. Most people who just hopped on the bandwagon didn't even beat that game.
You just gave me flashbacks, bro, from Dark Souls 3. Bro, I would say my greatest accomplishment in gaming is when I beat the dancer by myself.
That was a challenging fucking
self, bro. It took me like months to do it. Like, it was wild. But I ended up doing it.
So while we're talking about, I mean, it kind of sounds like we're on the Souls wagon. So for me, I have so many, but if I had to say one in particular, the most, I would say Bloodborne. Bloodborne was probably the most out of every single Souls game I've ever played. Is absolutely the hardest one, hands down. And I think Don can agree with that, just because the game itself, it was just too much already to handle. And then also on top of it, we had DLC, which was harder than the actual game itself. So
I was about to say the DLC on its own is like the damn near the hardest all over so far as played.
So
I say for me it would be Sekiro.
Yeah, Sekiro. Yeah,
oh, my bad.
No, you good.
Yeah, Sekiro.
Oh yeah, I would say the biggest achievement for me would be Sekiro, especially like being it the second time around. Like, I felt the second run, me going through it is like I felt like I got better at it, but I could see like the improvement and like the things that Dark Souls teaches you, from software games teach you, is like not only that the learn from the bosses is patterns and everything, but to also like implement like different tool sets and everything. So it's like, especially that being my first From Software game too, it's like it really was like a achievement for me to try to beat that game all the way through, especially by yourself, since it's a single player game as well. So I really thought that achievement, you can't do that, bitch.
Yeah, that was definitely harder because you can't add people to help you.
Yeah, you can't, not at all. You're all by yourself in there. But another thing, like what Don's saying about his accomplishment is great, because at least you can take what you've learned in that game and apply it to every other fucking game out there when it comes to parry times, right?
Yeah,
like that's something that you can cherish for like ever.
Oh yeah, and you can take it into a lot of other games too. So it's like when you get from a software game and you jump to a normal game, it feels like it's like easy mode.
I know,
exactly.
It feels like you were going to the gym for a while, and then you're just like doing I don't know, the simplest workouts.
What about you, Aaron?
Yeah.
For me, again, I'm an old school type of gamer still, that's what I am.
Metroid.
No, actually, I mean, I have speedrunning accomplishments, but for me, it was when I first actually managed to beat Castlevania 3 on the NES. I know y'all probably didn't play Castlevania 3, but Castlevania 3 is extremely difficult. Now, this is back in the day when you jumped in the air and you couldn't change the direction of your jump once you jump. Once you jump, you're pretty much on that set path. And not only that, when you get hit by something, it throws you back into the nearest hole, so you always died instantly. So like this is difficult. Castlevania 3 was hard as shit because I was a young dude at the time. I had ADHD. I'm throwing my controller against the wall and everything. Like, fuck, why can't I do this? My mom told me to shut up and everything. And like, it was so difficult because, like, literally, I want Mirror to play one of these days. Apparently, they aren't hard or whatever. But I think I get that money, you won't be able to beat it. But like, it was so difficult because of like games were so limited at the time. You know what I mean? We didn't have parry timing and stuff like that. You had to dodge that fucking hit, and hope to God the game didn't slow down and make you fuck up and get hit by the damn game.
That's true. It's easier now than it was back then.
It was a time where, like you said, Aaron, it's like there was a time where actually there was no such thing as parry. There was either like dodge or use a shield or whatever you can use at the time. So I can relate on that. Yeah.
And like, Castlevania 3's bosses are difficult. They move around. You wouldn't even think a 2D boss would fucking give you this much trouble, but it's like moving around, throwing a bunch of shit at you. And then remember, we had game overs back then. We had game overs. So you had our lives
all over
the fucking beginning. Like, damn. I'm like, I didn't play Castlevania 3 on an emulator. I didn't play it on an emulator. I played like straight through on the actual console, NES. So when I died a bunch of times. I got pissed, but I didn't give up. I made it to the final boss, and it's difficult. He has 3 phases, and you don't get no health. You don't get to heal yourself. You don't get no health. You just gotta not get hit the whole time. But I finally did it. I beat it. I was like, shit, damn, I did it. That was an accomplishment for me, man. And to this day, I can't beat it no more.
That's majority of the Dark Souls for us too. We just do it one time, man. It's not worth going back.
I beat Dark Souls 3 twice. I really did like that game.
It was and I guess that was the same for me with Demon's Souls. But since we're talking about like games that really were like really made us made us self-accomplish. Felt self-accomplished. What are like some of the most iconic game characters that kind of really resonated with you, or you know what I mean, like really brought that out? They brought a different perspective on like the way that kind of influenced you in a way. Anybody would like to go first? Aaron. I mean, Aaron, we already know yours, man. It was Samus, right?
Listen. Honestly, it would be Samus. I mean, she didn't resonate with me, but I like the way how badass you felt while playing her, especially new Metroid. You just
isn't she a silent protagonist?
Yeah,
yes.
Just
hold on.
Okay, I could defend Aaron there. I do. For me, is Link, because Link has been there all my life.
Yeah, Link.
Yeah.
And Link doesn't say a word, but he's
I wasn't throwing no shade. I was just making sure, like, I didn't know if was talking that.
She's silent, but like through her actions, through her body language, she like says so much through her body language and through her like her actions. Like in Metroid Dread, I'm sure y'all played it, where she's like able to pry open giant monsters' mouths and start shooting them and everything, and hold off giant monsters with one hand and everything. And shoot at, like, that's cool as fuck. Know what I mean? So like it's just awesome. Like she don't really speaks to me, but I like when a game is able to translate the badassery or badassness or however you say it through the character's actions. You know what I mean? Just don't say anything else.
So like for me, what I said when Link, like I grew up with Link, like his character has followed me till today and going forward. Like growing up, like when I was younger and I was always playing all his games, like all the Zelda games, he taught me to like basically never give up. Because no matter how much he lost, he still got his ass back up and then whipped the enemy's ass at the end of it. Mm-hmm. So like if you look at the times from the first Zelda to now, every game he's always coming back up from like under a slumber or something, or some shit crazy happening, and then he's going right back up to being the champion. He's always been the champion. So that's
and some timelines he died too, right? So he's really getting back up.
Yeah, so he's like he sleeps for like centuries at a time. Sometimes, like Breath of the Wild, he fell asleep, he woke up from like what is it, 1,000-year slumber or whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that.
So he the fact that he was able to, he still had that power to get back up. That he had that motivation to get back up and protect Zelda. Like that's what I got from him.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
For me, I can go next. I mean, obviously, mine's is kind of obvious. It had to be Kratos. Mainly because of God of War was just kind of like one of those games. I mean, I grew up with a lot of anger issues, so I mean, like this was kind of like the wave for you to kind of release. Like, you know, it's a slasher, so you're mostly just kind of just smashing buttons, just smashing people, and you know what I mean. Like it's just one of those games for me. But just not only on the the attitude and you know what I mean, anger. One of those emotions for me. I actually liked him as a character himself because, he's the Ghost of Sparta. This man had already kind of lost the majority of his family. I really love his story and his background. It really kind of sits with me. And I think that's fine.
He's been through hell. Everybody's literally been fucking with him, and he's trying to be home, and chill, and everybody just keeps fucking with him.
Yeah, and
I like him better than new God of War. He's like all
fighting because he's tired, and two, he has a kid.
Exactly,
he has to teach to be the better man.
But Aaron, if you had to start from the very beginning when you actually get to know a little more about Kratos, because I mean the newer ones kind of show a little bit about like Danny said, like he had him having a family, him trying to change try to get this dark cloud over his shoulders because everybody has like some sort of the mental picture of this character always being like aggressive and bad. I mean that's what mostly his audience is drawn from is mostly just him wanting to kill gods or put him up against anybody or any other characters, and you know what I mean, like Dante from Devil May Cry or something like that. You know what I mean? Like people is always wanting to see him, and that's why it was a little interesting to kind of see like towards the end with the new ones that he changed that image. But the other ones, the before, I kind of liked how it explained a lot of his story. Yeah. So and that's why I think like, and there's so many, right? Because like you got the PSP ones, you got the I think there's just phone. There's the phone. There's actually a app version of the game, which also in the PSP. You know what I mean? So it's just like there's so many different avenues of explaining most of his concept, and for me, it's just kind of I just loved about storytelling. Kind of from this main character that really resonated.
The man was blinded by war, killed his family, had to live with it for centuries, and then he got a family again, and then now Thor's fucking with him.
Right.
Now Thor's fucking
and now we're going to, and now hopefully if we don't get another one, we'll probably go to Egypt. Like who knows? I think
who knows?
I think they said that they were doing another one. Yeah, I think they're going to continue the story.
Oh, well, I would say Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
I had a feeling.
Mostly because because the way I relate to him is because he's like more reservant and more like laid back, and he doesn't speak often, but he really has like an eagle eye point of view on things. Like he likes to scope out his areas first before he goes in and determine what he's gonna do. He always like sets his goals on like three. You either have like three options. You can go and get guns and blazing, or you can be more stealth, or you can be like more like in between. Like you could play, knock out the enemies and drag them away, and then like the other part you can like gun your way through if you need to, if things go wrong. That's why sometimes I tackle things in real life that kind of way. Like I try to look at things three different options if possible, just foresee my option, what could happen, possibilities. Like if one thing can go wrong, I could go to the other option. If the other one can go wrong, I can go to a different stealth way or something like that.
Yeah, I can see
so
that.
It's like it is. I probably can't relate to, I could probably relate to him with some of my relatives, but probably not to the extent that Snake goes through. But yeah, I would say I relate to him in that kind of way. It's like he's very militant in that way too. Like the way he he's like playing chess in real life. Like the way he navigates through certain missions and his tasks that he has to go through when he's assigned them. And he's like a team player too. Like he's always willing to put himself on the front line before anybody else. So I feel like I do that sometimes as well, because I don't want to see anybody else get hurt or harmed in any kind of situation. So yeah, I'd say I relate to him in that kind of way.
That definitely makes sense. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Amir?
All right. Yeah, so I was gonna say Aloy.
What the fuck?
I'm saying, and in many ways you could argue against Samus anyway, but anyway, Aloy is like, she's one of the, I think she's within the current like generation of gaming, she's definitely like the lead female protagonist right now. She has integrity. She's always brave, super ambitious. Kind of similar to what Don said, like in Snake, she's always willing to put herself, in front of everybody. She always puts her team in the back and makes sure she's in the forefront. I mean, bro, she's controlled wars. Like she literally led wars for different factions in the game. Like she's literally controlled wars. And mind you, this is coming from an outcast. This is coming from nobody, from someone who had nothing to becoming one of the most championed people in the game.
Yep.
So definitely like Aloy's taught me a lot about like focusing on an objective, getting it done, really narrowing in on like keeping close friends near you, always trusting in them, believing in them, just being open-minded to their ideas as well. Because, a lot of times in the game, Aloy is always the center genius where she's always, coming up with the ideas on how to defeat these monsters. But she also gets help from her peers as well, too. And she's always open-minded to it. So, yeah, just like those things. And then Aloy isn't, a lot of video games, especially female characters, they have to overly like sexualize them in order to get them to sell.
They don't do that with
like
her.
a certain market pace.
Yeah.
You don't have that with Aloy.
Nope.
Aloy is very straightforward. She's a hunter. She's very skilled. You could argue that I would argue that in terms of combat, she's on skill with Kratos and all of them. Right. Just in terms of combat. I'm not talking about
basically she
in
can
terms
handle
of like
herself.
Killing
she
gods.
can handle herself.
Exactly. Like she's not as strong as Kratos or anything, but combat to combat. She's smoking Samus. Samus take that suit off. If Samus takes that suit off,
bro,
hand-to-hand combat.
Think about it like this: if
Samus can jump over mountains, by the way,
again with that suit she can.
Without the suit, read up on the
think about it like this: if Hawkeye can take on Thanos, then so can Aloy.
No.
Hawkeye was in the Avengers,
I got Aloy more skilled.
But why are you taking the suit off of her, though? Why are you taking that off of her, though? Why?
What do you mean? Like, that's her biggest selling point. It's the damn suit.
Yeah. Nobody really plays like Samus without the suit.
Like, how you want Samus isn't even a thing without the suit. What do we like? What?
She's tough as shit without the suit.
Like, huh? Yeah, she's probably a skilled fighter, but her selling point and the reason people buy Metroid is because of the suit. Her abilities in the suit.
Yeah, the abilities are tough. Metroid has a lot.
Like, what are we talking about? Like, imagine playing Metroid Prime Remastered without the suit. You just running around with a gun. Nobody give a fuck about that. Like, you play Metroid because of that damn suit. Like
I said, you're not beating Samus.
She's definitely
nobody was even talking about who he was just saying that she's able to handle her own if the time came.
That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, here you go, Samus Aran.
Samus is number one. Samus is number one.
Hey man, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Samus will beat any bitch up.
But I think that covers about it. If anybody has anything else you want to add,
get Tears of the Kingdom. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
on sale.
I got one question.
On sale, bro. So it will never go on sale.
Before we leave, right? So you said the game was 7 out of 10. So how does that?
What's wrong with 7 out of 10? It's an open world game. You can't really do much in it though.
But like you're like being the anomaly, right? Like everybody has 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10.
Because
now you have just like that site that you're talking about, or that person that gave it 6 out of 10. Yeah. They're being an outcast. They just want to be a one-off. All right, so why?
Actual points.
So all right, so in your regard, outside of there not being a setting difference, what makes a $10 price difference? Which you can't even explain why there's a gripe with $10. But anyway, besides that, why is the game a 7 out of 10? I'm just curious.
I mean, it does not excel at being a Zelda game. The dungeons still aren't technically dungeons.
What is the definition of a Zelda game? Like,
well, the music has to be amazing. Let's be honest. Tears of the Kingdom music is not up to par with other Zelda games.
It's very quiet and
yes.
I don't know. It could be a little bit better.
It could be better, right? It
doesn't bring it down to 7 out of 10 though.
Okay, I think that takes a point off at least. Zelda's music is very important to Zelda.
No, because I would argue that. But that's what so this is my point. I would argue music is very important, especially if we're talking about sequels of a game, depending on the game it is.
It doesn't change my perspective on the game.
Warrants music, like especially when it came out during that time, and the way that game plays, music makes sense. Whereas though an open world game such as Breath of the Wild, what do you need? Music just when you're in the fucking and the grass is running? Like, no, you don't need music at all times. Now, yeah, like if it's at certain parts at like boss fights and stuff like that, I agree with you. Music is very important. But like music really just depends on the game. Like there's barely any fucking music in The Last of Us Part 2, but like I'm not going to sit up there and be like, oh, well,
yeah, because you're trying to.
It's all dependent on the game, like.
But that's not the only thing. Like dungeon design is very important in Zelda. In Breath of the Wild, the new dungeons just feel like kind of like somewhat extensions of the Divine Beast. I mean, I'm come on now. I mean, you're not going to be talking about these dungeons in like years to come.
Are dungeons new? Were dungeons in the older Zeldas?
Yeah.
Older ones.
They only. What do you mean, like the old before Breath of the Wild?
Like the very first Zelda,
dungeons was like the main thing of the game. Is a dungeon crawler type game. But as far as Breath of the Wild, it's a little different. This one because Breath of the Wild had the dungeons that you went to were like for the Divine Beast. You just had to figure out how to start the machine or whatever.
Basically,
yeah, basically. And then this one, there's no Divine Beast in this one. This one is more just try to activate something or. You got to fight fight a boss in that dungeon or whatever. And then they kept the shrines though. The shrines are just to show you. They're like just to kind of upgrade your power or they give you those little crystal things to upgrade your hearts.
Yeah, just for hearts and stamina and stuff like that. But like, I mean, again, like I just like look. You won't look at this game 10 years from now and say, "Oh my god, that one particular dungeon was amazing." You're looking at Twilight Princess and saying the Arbiter Grounds was a good ass dungeon, or like.
But you know what I'd rather have though. I'd rather 10 years from now we look back at Tears of Kingdom being one of the best games of the generation, opposed to a dungeon. Right. I mean, is Breath of the Wild not looked at that?
Yeah,
we're almost the halfway. 10 years.
Breath of the Wild though, they did. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
All right, so 10 out of 10s everywhere, but. It's not that good.
It's because it's Zelda.
It's because it's not Metroid. It's because it's
you
not
say that. That's what got plenty of 10 out of 10s. A lot of it.
Yeah, I could definitely see in this game probably winning Game of the Year, probably.
I still got Spider-Man 2, but
I don't know about this year.
I mean, I still
we'll see.
So
Tears of Kingdom definitely might take it.
Yeah. It's always decided because
that's what I mean. Yeah. Can't wait to see the end of the year.
It's a big enough name.
Like who doesn't?
Don,
it's a big enough name.
Don, what game are you looking for to is it Final Fantasy?
Yeah, I can see that as a tender for sure.
Which one? Yeah. Which game of the year is your game of the year so far?
So far, well, honestly, I haven't played too many new games from this year, so I can't really say too much on it. But I'm looking at possibly. I could see. maybe Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 6 will be the game of the year permanent.
I say
John, bro, you didn't even say that confidently, bro. You know damn well that shit not gonna win no game.
Of course it's not. Fighting games never win.
You just throwing anything.
Yeah.
You know that's not gonna win, bro.
But it will be
Street Fighter
mine.
6.
It will be my game of the year.
It might win.
It would be
fighting
Aaron's game of the year.
like,
Yeah.
it wins fighting game of the year. It's not even gonna get nominated. Like, bro, what?
Game of the Year awards is for casuals who don't play games.
Who wants a fighting game for game of the year?
It's gonna be between Tears of the Kingdom and Hogwarts.
I would say,
And Resident Evil.
I would say don't forget Star Wars.
Spider-Man's definitely gonna
I
be
thought
in there,
Star
too.
Wars would have been pretty good out there. Maybe a nominee.
What Spider-Man? Miles Morales?
No, Spider-Man 2.
But Spider-Man 2 is not even out yet.
Yeah, but it comes out the end of the
No,
year.
it comes out in like November.
Yeah.
All right, but they can't really count that.
Yeah, they can.
just came
They
out.
did God of
Yeah,
War.
they did God of
They
War.
did God of War.
God of War.
They gotta work.
Yeah, listen,
God of War
this
came
was
out in November last year.
Because Jeff Keighley or whatever his name is was in bed with Sony. That's why. It
Yeah,
should never be
but
counted.
Spider-Man is not going to be that much different
Listen-
because you're still in fucking New York.
listen. This was the same
Why-
conversation.
I have Tears of the Kingdom though.
This was the
Hold
same
up.
conversation I was having, I think with Mir actually, about God of War actually. I was like, oh, it doesn't feel right for God of War to win Game of the Year because it hasn't even had that long of that
Yeah,
length.
that's what I would have thought. Like,
But
it
no,
would have been
it's
like
it's
in the beginning of the
it's
year.
different. It's different.
Bro.
They proved us
Nah,
wrong with
bro.
this last Game Awards. Like they fucking God of War took all the awards home this fucking Game of the Awards.
Bro, it literally was one of the. It was probably people argue Elden Ring, but God of War Ragnarok was literally the best game of last year.
But Elden Ring won overall game of the year
Yeah.
though. Elden Ring.
I would agree with
So Ragnarok won last year, right?
No,
Yeah.
No.
No, Elden Ring won Game of the Year,
But
but,
it
like,
took-
God of War swept everything.
Every other award.
Oh damn,
Every other award it took home.
damn.
So that's what I'm
And I
saying.
feel like, to be
Wonderful.
honest, I feel like the whole Elden Ring thing, they just gave that to them because they didn't want to feel bad, bro. Because Elden Ring,
No.
Elden Ring was a great.
That's what it should have been.
Elden Ring was an amazing game. But did you say Xenoblade Chronicles, bro?
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
nominated, bro?
It was nominated for game of the year. Yes, it was.
Was it? I
Yeah, it
forgot.
was.
I forgot that came out last year.
That's how good
I forgot that was a game.
That's how trash it was.
Whatever.
What?
No, I definitely got my bets on Final Fantasy 16. That's a solid bet. Like,
All right.
I can see that.
I say for
I
me,
can see that.
I say for me, Star Wars for now. So I think Star Wars might.
Wait a minute, you're saying
Okay.
Star Wars over Spider-Man? I thought you would have been on Spider-Man side.
No,
That's crazy.
I say
because
Star Wars over Spider-Man any day.
I want to see it
Yo,
first.
y'all bugging, bro.
No,
Did
wait.
y'all forget that Venom was in the next trailer? Did y'all forget that?
Nobody
Listen,
cares about Venom.
I'm way over Star Wars.
I would change it. I would change it once we get there. I just haven't. I haven't
Y'all
seen it.
y'all really voted for Cal Custis.
Cal
Like
Kestis.
what?
Get her
Cal
right.
Kestis, whatever his name is. Y'all are voting him over Miles and Peter Parker.
Bro, I that's my favorite character in Star Wars is Cal Kestis.
Bro,
I got his
that's
lightsaber and
wild,
everything, bro.
What about Aaron?
Like I said, I mean, I want it for me.
Where's
personally.
Metro Prime 4?
That's the
And I
kill
bet you
switch.
when it do come out, that shit's still not gonna win Game of the Year.
They probably will.
Ramir just found the new kill switch.
He did. Okay, but listen, Street Fighter 6 is what I want. It's going to be my game of the year. But I mean, let's be honest, it's going to be Tears of the Kingdom because people are idiots. So that's
Because
gonna
people
win.
are idiots.
Damn.
But so far, my game of the year will probably be like between Octopath 2 and Resident Evil 4.
Ooh, that's a nice combo.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's how I like it.
All right.
Okay.
I like this. I like the way we could close out. That wraps it up. I think that's about it. We'll guys see you on the next episode.
Happy Mother's Day. Peace.
Happy Mother's Day.